welcome to Embrace the Shake. This is our first official lesson for Visual Arts 10 at home. Follow along with me on the following slides as we make our way through this presentation together. You'll find within it is a link to a TED Talk that's about 10 minutes long, and it will help guide our lesson. Please watch the TED Talk before skipping ahead in the following slides. Here we go. Well, folks, here we are. We're about to embrace on a big shake here. We're distance learning. We're learning from home for the first time. And this is, unless you've been homeschooled before, this is really the first time that any of us have learned in this capacity. So, to put things quite simply, we're shaking things up. And we obviously don't have access to our classroom with our regular supplies, with our support group of friends and peers who we normally sit next to, without a teacher, face to face. Although I am here virtually, we can admit it's really not the same as being in a classroom together. So a lot of the things, a lot of the supports that we normally have to do art, to do any course, simply isn't there, or it's not there in the same way that we're used to. So this is a big shake. This is a big change in the way that we normally do things. But how can we embrace the shake of this situation? How can we, for lack of better words, make lemons out of lemonade? To not make lemons out of lemonade, sorry, make lemons into lemonade. My bad. How can we also get creative with the materials around us in order to create art during this time? This presentation is going to ask you to ponder these questions, to think about how can we use this opportunity, how can we use this experience, rather, as an opportunity to create art and an opportunity to tap into our artistic side in a way that, for many of us, hasn't been done before. Before we go any further with this presentation, it's time to pause and watch this TED Talk, which is called Embrace the Shake. And in it is presenter and artist Phil Hansen, who explains how he embraced quite a shake, so to speak, in his life and how it impacted the art that he made. This TED Talk is about 9-10 minutes long, so please watch it fully from beginning to end and take note of the things that interest you, the things that surprise you, and the things that really make you go wow as you watch it. So, here we go. So, what do you think? It's pretty crazy, right? Just the sheer quality of art that he makes is astounding, is eye-opening, and pretty impressive. But the fact that he's able to create such art while embracing his limitation is really what struck me. And although we don't have the same limitation as Phil Hansen had, we certainly have a number of limitations facing us as we make our way through the rest of the semester. And I really think it's important to take what he says to heart in many ways, and really think about how we can apply his message to our own lives moving forward. So some of my favorite quotes from the talk are as follows. We need to first be limited to become limitless. Let's say that again. We need to first be limited to become limitless. We need to experience some kind of challenge, some kind of obstacle, in order to learn how to not only overcome it, but how to use that obstacle for our advantage. As you watch this video, I want you to kind of think back to these questions, like, in what way was Phil limited? What was his main limitation? And what did he do about it? In what ways are you currently limited? Maybe it's with regards to not having supplies at home. Maybe it's not having motivation to do school from home. Maybe it's not having the supports that you normally have in a classroom, or that encouragement and that motivation from those peers around you. Maybe it's a lack of supplies. Maybe it's a lack of time, because you're trying to balance not only doing school from home, but maybe you're working more hours, maybe you're caring for younger siblings, maybe you're helping out around the house a lot more than, let's say, you normally would. These are all limitations that you may be facing. Some may be facing more than others, and you may have different limitations in mind as well that I haven't mentioned here. But I really want you to think about not only what those limitations are, but what can you do about it? We saw in the video, we saw in the video that Phil Hansen took his limitation and spun it in a way to make it work. He thought of new ways of doing art. He thought of ways to embrace his shake that he had in his hand to make his art actually reflect that so-called limitation and turn it into something beautiful. So as you sit at home right now, I want you to think, what can you do about the limitations you face, and how can you make them work for you, not against you? Learning to be creative within the confines of our limitations is the best hope we have to transform ourselves and collectively transform our world. Now, I know that's a mouthful, and take a moment to just reflect on what that means. What's he saying here? We need to learn how to be creative within the confines of our limitation. And if we can do that, then we can really transform ourselves. We can really tap into our creative ability in a way that we might not have tapped into had we not been pushed into this situation. I think in many ways that a lot of you feel maybe more creative at home when you're in your own space, when you're in your own time, and you're not, forced to sit and do art at a desk 1 hour a day, every day at a certain scheduled time. This opportunity is really giving you the freedom to explore art on your terms. And if you give yourself the opportunity to tap into that, you may very well find that you're expressing yourself creatively in ways you never thought you could. And in doing that, you may find that you are transforming yourself. You are becoming a better, different version of yourself because of the way in which you're able to express yourself creatively. And, in doing that, if we all do that collectively, we can not only change the art scene at DRHS, but we can help change and transform each other. So here are some questions I want you to think about. First of all, how can you still be creative at home even though you're limited? How can you work with what you have at home in order to express your creativity? Secondly, how might this experience actually encourage you to become a better artist? How might it encourage you to become a better artist? How can you use this unique situation, your unique surroundings, your feelings and emotions that you have around this whole crazy pandemic? How might that help you to become better at art? And how can you use your experience to express yourself through your art? Because that's where the magic happens, guys. And lastly, how might your art reach others? For many of us, art is a really personal experience, and the idea of sharing it with other people is not something that we want to explore. But I want you to think about ways that we can have our art reach others. Maybe it's through a DRHS Visual Arts Instagram page, where I can post some of the artwork that you produce at home for others to see, if you'd like. Or maybe we can do somewhat of a virtual collective art show that we can share via social media with our community. I think in times like this, people often rely on art to help them process how they're feeling. So if we end up creating pieces that speak to our experience and speak to how we're feeling about what we're going through, it could possibly help others process their own feelings around it as well. And why not share that? So in closing, here are some takeaways from this TED Talk that I want you to remember. First of all, embrace it. Let's find ways to make the best of the best. bad situation. Let this experience inspire the art that we make. And let's see where it takes us. Let's explore doing art in new ways with new materials, with unconventional supplies, and let's see what kind of products we can make from that. And lastly, let's see also how it can change the way that we make art. We're all in this together. We're going to be doing these projects together. I will be sharing my own art projects with you as well as I introduce them to you. So let's have fun with it. Go to the next slide to have a look at some of the review questions that I've set out for you. These questions I would like you to answer in a Google Doc and upload it to the assignment posted in Google Classroom called Embrace the Shake Lesson 1. The due date for this assignment is only next Friday, April the 17th. Given the fact that we are headed into Easter weekend, that really does cut down on some of our school days technically. So you have until Friday, April 17th to submit the following 5 questions that are outlined on the next slide. If you have any questions about this TED Talk, this presentation, or the review questions posted on the next slide, please email me at my GNS-PES account or comment on one of the threads on our Google Classroom assignment. I'm here to help you as best I can, and good luck and have fun. Until next time, bye.